Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Sunday Series. Today's performance, Mother, Dear Mother, I Still Think of Thee, Act 2. Um, in Act 2, we learned that after years of torturous legal maneuvers, Charity finally receives a communication from Mr. Dixon marked urgent and instructing her to appear at the U.S. Circuit Court in Alexandria, Virginia. Her daughter Antoinette accompanies her.
Do you think Mr. Dixon will have good news this time?
I hope so, dear Antoinette. For I'm so very tired of traveling back and forth from state to state.
This is the place, Mother dear. It says U.S. Circuit Court.
It certainly does. Oh, Mother dear, so proud of how well you've learned to read.
Where must we wait?
There's Mr. Dixon coming now.
Hello, Mr. Dixon.
Well, hello there. We meet again. And how are you, Mrs. Wiggins?
Oh, I'm fair to middling, Mr. Dixon.
I am so glad you've come. If you hadn't made it to this one, the newspapers would make the whole world believe you didn't fight because you wanted the whites to keep your son.
Well, tell the newspaper peoples there's been 32 hearings on my brother's case, and my mother dear ain't missed ne'er one. Bethune been filing all them delay papers and moving the case from state to state and hoping my mother dear wouldn't get there. I don't care if he move it on the moon. We're gonna meet him there.
We've done so much traveling to keep up with wherever the hearings move to. We're backed up in our dressmaking orders. I don't know how we'll ever be able to repay you, Mr. Dixon.
Well, let's not worry about that for now. There's a petition before the court filed on your behalf for the money your son is due. First, let's get your son returned to you.
They sure done had enough time to do that. He's got to be a grown man by now.
Oh, your brother is going on 39 years old now, Antoinette. I haven't seen him since he was 16.
That was the age at which Bethune had your son declared non compo mentis, appointing himself as the committee of one and as the legal protector of the so-called non compo mentis. Bethune is a slippery character.
Wait a minute, Mr. Dixon. What do all this gobbledygook mean?
It means Bethune had your brother declared a lunatic, Antoinette. I thought I told you that some time ago.
If he thinks my brother's a lunatic, why he traipsing all over the world with him?
To make money.
There's been a turn of events. That's why I've asked you here. I am pleased to tell you that the Honorable R.W. Hughes of the U.S. Circuit Court of Virginia has ordered that the defendant, James N. Bethune, who has kept your son in his possession since the days of slavery, is restrained from removing your son beyond the borders of this state of Virginia.
He's here? In Virginia?
Yes, he is.
When can I see him?
Bethune must deliver your son to you within 10 days.
So, Mr. Dixon, we won?
We've won that one. Another suit is pending against Bethune for $100,000, the amount we believe is due from Tom's earnings since 1865.
Oh, really, Mother dear? Did you hear that? Now that's what I'm talking about.
Well, the money will be welcome, Mr. Dixon, but when can I see my son? Is Bethune going to take his own sweet time to bring me my son?
Wait, listen. Do you hear that music?
Yes, I hear it.
Hello, Tom. Please, please don't stop playing.
No, because he sound good. Mr. Dixon, don't he sound good?
He certainly does.
Who are you, sir?
I'm W.M. Dixon, the attorney who has been handling your mother's case.
And I'm your sister, Antoinette. Mother dear is here.
Tom, do you know where you are?
Yes, sir. Tom is in Alexandria, Virginia, in the judge's private chamber. Judge R.W. Hughes was letting me play his piano.
Did the judge tell you some members of your family have come to see you?
Massa Bethune is Tom's family.
He ain't your master no more, Tom. You're free now. You've been free. We all free now. Ain't no more slavery.
Tom want to stay with Massa.
No, you don't. You don't even know what you're saying.
Tom want to stay with Massa.
Thomas, it's Mother dear.
Tom want to go see Massa.
Mother dear, what's wrong with him?
Hush, Antoinette. There's nothing wrong with your brother. Bethune has made him think something is wrong with him.
Tom, we got a whole heap of brothers and sisters somewhere out there in that big world. We're looking for them just like we looked for you. It's a lady who we make an address for, and she says she's seen our brother Dan.
Mother dear has come for to take you home, son.
Thomas, aren't you going to speak to your mother?
Oh, he doesn't know any better, Mr. Dixon.
He better try to learn some better.
How would he know what it's like to be with his family? Who has taught him how to act when he's with his family?
You don't remember me?
I bet Tom remembers that pretty song he wrote for Mother dear that time. Mother dear, mother, I still think of thee. Did Tom think of his mother dear all these many years?
Charity goes to gently touch her son, but he yanks away.
Well, ain't this a fine howdy do?
Tom, in addition to being your mother's attorney, I've been appointed a U.S. Marshal, and there must be no disorder.
Tom won't be any trouble, will you, Tom?
He better stop turning his back to my mother, the mother who done born him into this world and whose heart done bled and broke for him.
Hush, Antoinette. How could he know what this does to a mother's heart?
Tom, it's time for me to tell you that your mother has won. Bethune is no longer your master.
If you please, Mr. Dixon, let me be alone with my son.
Of course. First, the law requires that his belongings be examined in my presence. After that's done, Antoinette and I will step out and leave you alone with your son.
Antoinette opens Tom's suitcase and looks inside.
This all he got? Look, Mother, there ain't nothing in here but an old wore-out suit and a little silver horn.
I'm not surprised. It's just like Bethune to feel this is all we're entitled to.
Done kept us in slavery all these years, and you want to go to your master instead of being with your own family. Maybe he is crazy.
Antoinette, don't talk to him like that.
Mother, if he had his sight and was an ordinary Negro who could play that piano, Bethune wouldn't have had him up in his chin, deep in some swamp or cotton patch, and wouldn't have had one kind word for him or give him one nickel.
Leave me alone with him, Antoinette.
Come, Antoinette. Let us step outside for a while.
We might gonna have to let him go back to his master, because he's still a slave in his mind.
Antoinette and Mr. Dixon leave.
Thomas, Mother dear understands. I'm a stranger to you. You don't have to talk if you don't want to, but just let Mother dear talk to you, son, and tell you about when you were little. Everyone was calling you names. Your daddy and I loved you so much and always knew you were very smart. Yes, Bethune owned us. He owned our hands, our feet, our eyes, even our tongues. But he never owned our minds. He took you from us and refused to let us see you. That was how he got to owning your mind, to poison it against all your people because he felt he had a right to. Your daddy is dead now, but he wanted so much to see you and throw his arms around you once more before God took him. Bethune probably ain't told you about the tricks he had you performing for his friends. How he trained you to roll over on the floor like his dogs, fetch his shoes and pipe. He probably ain't told you he leased you out to the circus and had you in a cage. See, he can't tell you what you was like as a little suckling babe. I'm the only one who can tell you that. Me, your mother dear, who gave you life. I'm the one who guided your little hands to help you understand what was around you. I'm the only one who can tell you what it was like for me and your daddy to hold you in our arms. Bethune wasn't the one comforted you when you cried or bathed you and rocked you to sleep. He didn't even want to touch you. Yes, he gave you food and shelter, but he did that much for his dogs and horse. He could have stopped others from calling you names, but it amused him. Then he went and had you declared a lunatic when he knew you wasn't. He never had any of his children declared lunatics. Son, did he tell you about the day he bought us? One of his sons sorted you out of the batch like he was sorting rotten potatoes. When he saw you were blind and thought you wasn't worth nothing, he put you in a croaker sack, took you out, and left you on the side of the road. Bethune claims he didn't tell his son to do that, but one of his daughters overheard him. How did he know anyone would find you before some wild animal got to you? Me and your daddy went looking for you deep in the night till we found you. We wrapped you in swaddling clothes. I fed you from these very breasts and brought you back to life. Me and your daddy went to Bethune, fell before him, and threw our arms around his knees and begged him to let us keep the only child left to us. But God had given you to us late in our lives. We said whatever he was paying for me and your daddy, it would cost him nothing more to have you thrown in with the bargain. We promised to work hard, do all your work for you, and make him the richest man in Georgia. And we've done that. Bethune claimed your daddy made his mark on the indenture agreement, selling you to him as his property for the rest of your life. Bethune knew your daddy could not read or write, for it was against their law for a slave to know how. When our first master announced he would sell me and your daddy separate, we had only a few hours to find someone to buy us. We went to Bethune not because he was a kinder master, but because he was the only one we could get to buy us. Your smart, Thomas. And I know you understand what Mother dear is telling you. Mother dear is leaving now. If Tom does not come with her, he may never hear his Mother dear's voice again in this life. For Mother dear is tired, son. So very tired.
Charity rises painfully and heads for the door.
Mother dear, don't leave Tom. Tom wanna go with Mother dear.
You do, honey? Bless your heart. Oh, then come to Mother dear. Tom knows how to feel his way to his Mother dear. For Tom's daddy and Mother dear taught him how. Come to Mother dear and let her take Tom home where he belongs.
Tom slowly feels his way to where Charity is waiting. She kisses his hands profusely, throws her arms around him, and weeps.
My son, Lord, Lord, all me and your daddy ever wanted was to hold you in our arms once more before we closed our eyes and went to glory. Lord, have mercy. Oh, thank you for your mercy, Lord. Thank you.
As the lights dim, we see Charity take Tom by the hand and tearfully lead him from the room. Antoinette and Mr. Dixon re-enter.
You may think this story had a happy ending, but it was not to be. Yes, Charity was awarded her son, but who can restore bonds broken and kept apart by nearly 30 years of separation? He returned to the people who enslaved him, to the home of Mrs. Eliza Lurch, Colonel, or was he a major?
He might not have been more than a private.
Well, whatever. James N. Bethune's ex or former daughter-in-law, Eliza Lurch, was no better than Bethune, her ex-father-in-law. She too kept Tom in seclusion, away from his family, and continued to make money off him. Tom kept pining for what he remembered as the good old days with his massa.
Way down upon the Swanee River.
After all, the boy knew nothing about his people, like many slaves who'd been freed, and was satisfied and content to remain with their white family. It's perfectly natural that he would have developed a fondness and devotion, as well as a confidence and dependency on his former masters. Let's not forget, the boy was taken out of his element, removed from his biological family as a child, and not allowed contact with them. June 1908. The headlines read, "Blind Tom is dead." Even in his death, he was not exempt from racial attacks.
Dallas Morning News. Famous darky passes away.
Life magazine. He never learned to eat like a man. He ate sometimes with his fingers or with his mouth directly in the dish, like an animal.
Indianapolis News. He was ugly and a most repulsive animal with an abnormal appetite and strongly developed passions.
The New York Tribune. Bethune made sure the boy developed a fondness for watermelons. If someone offered him a big slice, he could always be induced to play the piano.
The New York World, June 15th, 1908. On the evening of his death, he went to his piano and found that his right hand could not strike the keys.
Tom's fingers can't play no more.
Again and again, he tried an old lullaby.
Way down upon the Swanee River.
His voice broke and his eyes filled with tears.
Tom is all done. All gone, missus.
Eliza Lurch said she heard a faint cry and a thump near the bathroom door.
He had dropped dead of cerebral apoplexy.
His body was taken to the funeral chapel of the Frank E. Campbell Company in Hoboken, New Jersey. He was 59 years old.
His mother never saw her son again.
Even after his hair turned gray, my brother could still make that piano talk.
He could still accomplish musical feats rarely equated. Some even called him the eighth wonder of the world.
And yet, the wide world still had the question, did he have a soul? Oh, you better believe my brother had a soul.
The music he composed could only have come from someone who had a deep, sensitive soul.
Court awarded Mother Dear the $100,000, but between Bethune and that Lurch woman, she never did receive that money.
In the end, all she got from the whole fight was $15, which was given to her by her son's manager.
My Mother Dear stood up to a powerful white man so my brother wouldn't die no slave, and she won.
She won.
My mother, Mrs. Charity Wiggins, died in Columbus, Georgia, at the age of 105 years old. She won.
As Tom's music is heard in the background, the lights dim and go to black.